What if the most important kiss in a story has nothing to do with love? The life-saving kiss is one of storytelling's most powerful turning points. It's a moment that can force sworn enemies into a desperate act of intimacy, and in doing so, it perfectly bottles up the entire enemies to lovers' journey. Today, we're breaking down exactly why this high-stakes trope is so compelling and how it forges an unbreakable bond from a moment of pure survival. The enemies to lovers trope is a giant of fiction, from classic literature to modern fanfiction. It's the journey of two people who start with real conflict and slowly, painstakingly, find their way to trust, respect, and finally, love. That transformation is the story. But inside this beloved framework, some moments act as catalysts, speeding up the trip from hatred to affection. And none are more powerful, more symbolically charged than the life-saving kiss. This isn't your typical romantic climax. A lot of the time, it's not romantic at all. It's an act born from pure necessity, sharing air to stop someone from drowning, breaking a magical curse, or passing an antidote. It's raw, it's desperate, and it's deeply intimate. It's the moment a character has to choose. My mission, or this person. My long-held hatred, or the gut instinct to save a life. And in that one desperate choice, everything changes. Before we can really appreciate that turning point, we have to understand where we're starting from. A true enemies to lovers story doesn't kick off with mild annoyance or a witty rival. It begins with genuine, justified conflict. Think of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. Their initial hatred isn't just a personality clash. It's rooted in pride, prejudice, and social class. Elizabeth's entire future is hanging in the balance, and that's what gives the story its weight. The hatred has to be real and specific. We're talking soldiers from warring nations, spies from opposing agencies, or heirs to rival, feuding families. These characters are on opposite sides of a high-stakes conflict, and fighting each other is a core part of who they are. They've probably seen each other at their absolute worst, which only cements their bad opinions. This initial hostility is crucial because it sets up the huge emotional distance the characters have to cross. The deeper the hatred at the start, the more satisfying their eventual connection feels. The journey from, "I would do anything to defeat you," to, "I would do anything to save you," is the entire point, and that journey almost never begins by choice. So, how does one kiss completely derail years of animosity? Because the moment itself is a perfect narrative storm, a 4-act play crammed into a few heart-pounding seconds. First, the context is everything. The life-saving kiss almost never happens in a calm, quiet room. It happens in a crisis. The stakes are, literally, life and death. This isn't a will they, won't they over coffee. It's a frantic gasp for air underwater, a desperate move to break a fatal spell, or a last-ditch effort to neutralize a poison. The extreme danger strips away all pretense. Social rules, personal grudges, and long-term plans, irrelevant. All that matters is the immediate, primal need to survive. This pressure cooker environment cranks up the emotional intensity way beyond a normal romantic moment, making every choice feel monumental. Second, the act itself is a paradox. A kiss is one of the most intimate things two people can share. But here, it's stripped of all romantic intention. It's a mechanical act, a biological necessity. And yet, that's exactly what makes it so intimate. It bypasses all the conscious thought and runs on pure instinct. For two people who have built walls between them, who might have sworn to never even touch, this forced physical closeness is a massive violation of those rules. It's an invasion of personal space, done not for pleasure, but for survival. This raw, unplanned intimacy creates a bond that 1,000 witty conversations never could. They're connected in a moment of pure, animal vulnerability. Third, this is the ultimate turning point. After one character has breathed life into the other, the old dynamic is shattered. They can't go back to being just enemies. Saving someone's life, especially like this, is a statement. It says, despite everything between us, I choose for you to live. It proves that underneath all the layers of hate and conflict, something else, maybe grudging respect, or a sense of responsibility has already started to grow. One character is now indebted to the other for their life. The other has proven that their enemy's survival matters more than their mission or their pride. A line has been crossed, and the relationship has to be completely redefined. The awkwardness, the denial, and the eventual confessions that follow are where the real fun begins. Finally, the life-saving kiss works so well because it crams the entire enemies to lovers' journey into one scene. It has the initial conflict. They're still enemies when it happens. The forced proximity of a crisis, a moment of incredible vulnerability, and the clear start of a new dynamic. It dramatizes the idea that love and understanding can overcome even the deepest hatred. It's a visual metaphor for choosing connection over conflict. The journey that might take an entire book, from hate to reluctant teamwork to grudging respect to actual care, is crystallized in one powerful, undeniable action. So, why are we so captivated by this specific trope? At its core, enemies to lovers is popular because it delivers maximum emotional tension. The witty banter, the reluctant cooperation, the constant push and pull, it all creates a slow burn that makes the final payoff feel incredibly earned. It's a story about growth, where flawed people become better through their connection with each other. The life-saving kiss is the ultimate release valve for all that tension. It's the moment the subtext becomes text. For hundreds of pages, we've watched them fight, secretly care, and misunderstand each other. This moment forces the truth out. It taps into that romantic idea of a thin line between love and hate, suggesting that any intense emotion is a powerful foundation for a relationship. After all, to hate someone that much, you have to be paying an awful lot of attention to them. When that attention shifts from negative to positive, the intensity is still there. This is especially true in fanfiction, where enemies to lovers is a foundational trope. Fans love to track the emotional journey from rivals to reluctant allies to lovers, and a life-saving moment is often the most anticipated beat. It's the ultimate proof that love can conquer anything, and that people can be loved not despite their flaws, but because they have been seen, flaws and all. Of course, for all its narrative power, this trope walks a very fine line. When it's handled badly, it can easily start romanticizing toxic or abusive behavior. If the enmity isn't based on a misunderstanding or fighting for different sides, but on one character being genuinely cruel, manipulative, or abusive, then one life-saving act doesn't erase that history. A story that frames this as a grand romantic turning point sends a harmful message that it's okay to put up with terrible behavior because someone might be nice deep down, or that one big gesture can make up for a pattern of abuse. And then there's the issue of consent. If one character is unconscious or unable to respond, a kiss, no matter the reason, is done without their consent. While the story often frames this as a necessary, non-romantic act, it's a tricky area. Good writing acknowledges this complexity. It might treat the act as morally gray, or have the characters deal with the uncomfortable fallout afterward, rather than just painting it as purely heroic and romantic. The best versions of this trope make sure the initial hatred is based on circumstance, not on one character being a truly awful person, and they treat the aftermath of the kiss with the emotional weight it deserves. The life-saving kiss holds up as the ultimate trope because it's a narrative shortcut straight to the heart. It combines the highest possible stakes with profound intimacy, forcing a transformation that feels both shocking and inevitable. It's the climax of the conflict and the beginning of the resolution, all in one breath. This moment shows that even when facing death, our most human instinct is to connect, to preserve, to save. It argues that love isn't always a gentle flower. Sometimes it's a desperate, life-giving gasp in the dark. It's a powerful reminder that the most transformative connections can be forged in the most unlikely circumstances, proving that sometimes the only way to save a life is to risk your heart. What are your favorite examples of the life-saving kiss in fiction? Is there a moment that completely changed how you saw two characters? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep dives into the storytelling tropes we all love, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more.